You just washed your hands. Maybe it was after using the bathroom or before eating. You did it without thinking. But the real answer is far stranger. That ritual, that simple 30-second scrub, might be quietly eroding something ancient inside you. Something you inherited from every ancestor who ever survived a plague. Who are they? And what did they know that you've forgotten? Think about the surface of your skin. Right now, it is teeming with life. Not just the dirt you can see, but an invisible universe of bacteria, fungi, and viruses. For most of human history, this was simply a fact of existence. You lived with them. They lived on you. But in the last 100 years, you declared war on these unseen passengers. You launched a global campaign to eliminate them. And you are winning. But here is the unsettling question you never asked. What if that victory is the very thing that is making you weak? To understand the cost of cleanliness, you have to go back to the beginning. Not the beginning of your life, but the beginning of life itself. For 99.9% of human history, your ancestors lived in a world that was absolutely filthy by modern standards. They drank from muddy rivers. They slept on dirt floors. They handled raw animal hides. Their hands were caked in soil, and their bodies were covered in a thick, permanent layer of microbes. You might recoil at that image, but your biology absolutely depended on it. Your immune system is not a fortress designed to keep everything out. It is more like a careful gardener. And for it to grow correctly, it needs constant contact with the soil, the spores, and the microscopic life that surrounded your ancestors. This is not a metaphor. This is a biological fact. Your immune cells have receptor sites that are literally shaped to recognize bacterial molecules. Without those molecules to bind to, your immune system doesn't develop properly. It becomes anxious. It becomes paranoid. And when it has nothing real to fight, it starts to fight things that aren't threats. Your own tissues, the pollen drifting through the air, the peanut butter on your toast. The scientific world started to notice this pattern in 1989. A doctor named David Strachan was studying hay fever in children. He noticed something that seemed backwards. Children with older siblings had less hay fever than only children. The more siblings in the house, the lower the risk. He proposed a radical idea. The older siblings were bringing germs home from school and daycares. They were exposing the younger babies to dirt and disease early in life. And those early exposures were training their immune systems to behave rationally. He called it the Hygiene Hypothesis. But surely this was just one unusual observation. You might be thinking that soap saves lives. It does. The Hygiene Hypothesis wasn't an argument against washing your hands. It was an observation about the cost of overdoing it. The problem is that you didn't just stop at hand washing. You sterilized everything. You sealed your home against the outside air. You filtered your drinking water. You created an indoor environment that is practically a clean room compared to the natural world. And your immune system doesn't know what to do with that emptiness. Let's look at the numbers. Before the Industrial Revolution, about 1 in 20 people suffered from an allergic disease. Today, in many developed nations, that number is closer to 1 in 3. Asthma rates have increased by nearly 50% in the last 3 decades alone. Autoimmune diseases like multiple sclerosis and type 1 diabetes are skyrocketing. You have successfully reduced infectious diseases. You replaced them with inflammatory diseases. That is a trade you didn't agree to, but it is the trade you got. So what actually happens when you eliminate the microscopic world? Think of your gut. About 70% of your immune cells live there. They live alongside a community of roughly 1 trillion bacterial cells. These bacteria digest your food. They produce vitamins. They literally talk to your immune system through chemical signals. But in the last 100 years, you have dramatically reduced the diversity of that community. Antibiotics, chlorinated water, and processed foods have wiped out entire families of beneficial bacteria. Your microbiome today is about 30% less diverse than your grandparents' microbiome was, and you are passing that poverty on to your children. When a baby is born through a surgical C-section, it misses the crucial bath of vaginal microbes that seeds its gut. It begins life with a compromised ecosystem. But wait, How do scientists actually know this is the cause? This isn't just correlation. The evidence is incredibly specific. In the 1990s, researchers noticed something stunning about a group of children growing up on traditional farms in Europe. They had almost zero allergies. Their homes were full of animals. They were constantly exposed to hay, cow dung, and wild fungi. The researchers, led by Erika von Mutius, discovered that the dust from these farms contained a specific family of bacteria that triggered a powerful anti-inflammatory response. When they gave mice the same exposure, the mice became immune to asthma. The effect was so strong that it was published in the New England Journal of Medicine. It was not a fluke. It was a biological blueprint for how your body is meant to work. Here is the counterintuitive twist. Your body is not a fortress. It is a garden. And a garden that is constantly being hosed down with disinfectant does not produce healthy plants. The soil becomes barren. The plants become weak. And they eventually need constant chemical support to survive. You are seeing the same phenomenon in your own body. The rise of food allergies, eczema, and seasonal sneezing are all signs of a biological system that has been left untrained. It is a garden that has never seen a weed. This forces a deeply uncomfortable question. If being too clean is the problem, what is the solution? You cannot and should not return to the pre-modern era. Life expectancy has doubled because of public health measures. Clean water, hand washing, and vaccines save millions of lives every year. The solution is not to stop washing. The solution is to stop pretending that sterile is the same as healthy. You are not supposed to live in a bubble. You are supposed to live in a world filled with bugs, plants, and animals. You are supposed to get your hands dirty. You are supposed to eat fermented foods. You are supposed to walk barefoot on the earth. Consider what you actually lost. Your ancestors spent every waking hour in direct contact with the natural world. They breathed in forest air filled with fungal spores. They ate food that had not been sanitized. They had pets that lived inside the home. They drank water that contained harmless environmental bacteria. And those exposures were not incidental. They were essential training exercises for the immune system. Every single breath was a lesson in tolerance. Every meal was a dose of microbial education. You might be thinking this sounds like an excuse to let your kitchen turn into a science experiment. That's not the point. The point is that your immune system expects a certain level of dirt to function properly. When you remove that level, you trigger what scientists call the immune paradox. The system that is supposed to protect you from external threats turns inward and attacks you instead. Inflammatory bowel disease, rheumatoid arthritis, and celiac disease are all on the rise. Each one is a different version of the same story. Your body cannot find the ancient dance partner it was expecting. So it starts dancing by itself and it trips over its own feet. Now let's look at the modern mirror. Look at the products you use daily. Antibacterial hand soaps, surface sanitizers, bleach, mouthwash. All of these products are designed to kill 99.9% of germs. But there is a fatal flaw in that strategy. The 0.1% that survive are often the strongest and most resistant strains. You are not just sterilizing your environment. You are actively breeding superbugs. And your weakened immune system is not strong enough to fight them off. You created a trap for yourself. The cleaner you get, the more vulnerable you become. It is a cycle of diminishing returns. But there is hope. Researchers like Dr. Martin Blaser, who wrote the book Missing Microbes, argue that you can begin to restore your microbiome. It won't happen overnight, and it won't happen from a pill. It happens through exposure. It happens through diet. It happens through spending time outdoors. It happens through allowing your body to experience the natural world without immediately reaching for the sanitizing wipe. You have to accept that a certain amount of dirt is not a sign of failure. It is a sign of health. Think about the 90,000 hours you will spend sleeping over the course of your life. During those hours, your body repairs itself. It fights infections. It consolidates memories. But that process only happens when your immune system is calm. When your immune system is perpetually agitated by the absence of microbial signals, you don't sleep as well. You don't heal as well. Your stress hormones increase. The anxiety of modern life is not just psychological. It is biological. And it is partially driven by the fact that your body feels unsafe in a sterile environment. So what does this mean for you today? It means that the next time you wash your hands, you don't need to scrub them raw. Soap and water are sufficient. You don't need antibacterial agents. You don't need to sanitize every surface your toddler touches. You need to let your dog come inside. You need to eat yogurt that has live cultures. You need to go for a walk in the woods and breathe deeply. You need to let your children play in the mud. You need to stop fearing the microscopic world and start embracing it as a fundamental part of your biology. This is not a rejection of science. It is a deeper understanding of it. The science is clear. The communities with the most diverse microbiomes have the lowest rates of chronic inflammatory disease. The scientists are not telling you to abandon hygiene. They are telling you to recalibrate it. They are telling you that the healthiest people on Earth are not the ones living in hermetically sealed cleanrooms. They are the ones living alongside the natural world. You began this journey with your hands under a faucet. You watched the soap lather and the water run clear. You probably thought you were washing away harm. But consider this. You were washing away a connection to the dirt of the earth, a connection to the microbes that built your immune system, a connection to 1,000 generations of ancestors who survived not despite their filth, but because of it. When you wash your hands now, remember what you are removing. It is not just dirt. It is your heritage. It is your teacher. It is your oldest, most loyal partner in survival. And it is not gone. It is just waiting for you to turn the water off and step back into the world.